mono I have is for, the only mono I got is stuff we had to buy for the tarpon tournament only because we used a conventional and you had to use mono. That's the only thing I got. Yes.
Have you seen any difference between fluorocarbon that you'd spool your whole reel with and the fluorocarbon leader material?
I've never spooled a reel with fluorocarbon.
Because Bass Pro's got a 25-pound fluorocarbon. It's like 200 yards for like $12.
P-line?
Pardon?
P-line?
I'm not sure exactly what it is.
I use it. That's actually a coated fluorocarbon.
There's so many different mixes of line anymore. I can't keep up with it. I buy the leader material. I couldn't tell you the difference on it. They just come out with a God. Berkeley Mike was using it. It's funny thing because when I did a show with him last year where he goes, yeah, they just come out with this stuff. It's like a braided mono mixed together. And he's like, yeah, this stuff sucks. But they would kick the cameras and say, oh, it's pretty good stuff. But I don't even, it was like a mono and braid mixed, it was weird. I didn't like it. It was kind of silky. There are some braids that I don't like. This is Finn's. This is the wind tamer that I have on these. Works good over here. It's got a pretty good braid. Finn's does make a line called Smooth Cast. And I got a 2,000 yard spool of it, and I emailed him with junk. I can't, it's just, it's supposed to cast better. It's like a silky, I don't know what they got mixed in it. I'm not high tech on this stuff, but I don't like it. So, I'm pretty basic on what I throw. When I find something I like, I rarely experiment too much.
That's important. You have to be comfortable with what you're using. If you're not comfortable with it, it's not going to work. That is so important. Once if you're comfortable with monofilament, by all means, use it. If you're comfortable with a particular leader or a particular lure, by all means, that's the lure you need to use. If you're comfortable. If it's catching fish for you,
at the same token, don't be afraid to try something different because I learn every day.
He's telling me to try things different.
He's old and hard-headed.
I saw him get a lesson.
Me?
I saw him get a lesson.
When?
They were late.
Yes, I did. We did a Lee Blick. We went out.
Double range.
We went up by Double Branch, and I'm a soft plastic guy. I throw a lot of some Fathom jig stuff, Z-Man. I throw a lot of soft plastics, paddle tails, jerk baits. Air lure stuff works great. I just don't use it a lot. And Lee caught about 50 fish with my 20, and I finally said, "Give me that." And I swapped that. I was whacking fish one after another. So, and he was there, and I was trying everything in my bag I had. I mean, I got a bunch of different colors, he's just whacking trout after trout after trout. And I was catching some, but he would lose one on the same retreat and then hook another one and catch it. I'm like, and I'd throw 10 casts to get one. So, always be open-minded on the water with anything, including mackerel. Danny brings a good point. I've had mackerel do get picky. They rarely get picky, but this year it hadn't been a good mackerel year. The trout fishing has not been as good as it was the last 2 years from March on, as far as big trout. And I think we'll all test this.
no.
Big trout? Last year in March we were getting 26, 25 inch trout like every day. This year I have not seen that. I know I have personally caught more trout that size in January. So, I think the weather patterns have changed. We had a cold weather.
They got smaller. We're catching smaller now, but our weather's been a month ahead.
Yeah, so in January I was catching in the same area what I caught March last year. I think that goes to the mackerel. We seen the mackerel come in last year early. Oh, it was. You catching 28, 29 inch mackerel one after another. Huge.
And I have a theory why the mackerel were here.
You ate them all.
No, well, last year you got to remember that.
This is not about the crop circles, is it?
No.
Okay.
Last year we had cold
cows
weather.
move.
There wasn't a lot of bait offshore. Once those fish came from the south and came up offshore in Tampa Bay, there was nothing out there for them to eat. They started coming up into the bay. I was catching mackerel on pinfish, but never catching mackerel on pinfish. I was catching mackerel in the bay on pinfish. This year, a lot of mackerel have been offshore, and there was plenty of bait this year. That bait stayed offshore. So that's my theory.
seriously on this tournament, and I seen Danny doing it, he spoke about it, cut bait, cut thread fins. If they're not biting live bait, just free spool a cut thread fin. Sometimes they're not aggressive, they're not feeding real good, but you just drift that cut bait back and they'll take it. I've seen it a lot.
When he says free spool, a lot of time what you want to do, current's running.
Don't flip the thing and spin the reel backwards.
You don't want to, open your spool and let that bait drift, and let it, because it'll drift down. If the current's running and you close your spool, it's going to tighten the line, it's going to bring that piece of cut bait right up to the surface, and it's just going to pop around up on top. You might get a hit. I like to open the spool.
It's a good way to catch birds though.
Yeah, they fight good too.
What's the bird tournament?
Reeling something in that's 30 feet off the water instead of 30 feet down. It's a whole different game.
I got me a
Single pellet.
they got really distinct
Biggest
pellet
pellet.
we're catching bait in the sky.
Biggest
man.
wingspan
I
on the pellet.
my net over a pellet
That's what we
net.
need.
Did that, they go straight down to the bottom.
Oh, I didn't go that far.
I let him go to the bottom. I brought him up, revived him, and sent him on his way, but he went straight down 20 feet.
Yeah, but on a serious note,
I mean, I'm serious.
Got a whole freezer full of them.
but yeah, just be open-minded on stuff with fishing in general, because I see a lot of people that get, well, this worked before, this is what I'm doing, this is what I'm doing. It worked yesterday, but, you know, fish are pretty smart at times, even mackerel. They're one of the, I call them dumb fish at times, because they hit anything, they watch them hit bare hooks, but just switch up things. Keep your, don't use the same thing over and over. If it's not working for a day, you know, try something else.
What Steve said, and what Jason said, don't be surprised, if you're sitting there chumming, don't be surprised if cobia comes up, or the tarpon comes up. Because that happens more than maybe you would imagine. We caught a nice cobia the other day. We just came right up a chum.
Is it the same bait for cobia as it is for,
Yeah, cobia's even dumber than mackerel. I think.
No.
You don't think so? I do.
They fight hard, that they fight. They're a piece of fun.
These same areas, that's the nice thing about mackerels. A lot of these areas you're fishing, there's bigger fish that are in the same area. Cobia. I hooked about 100-pound tarpon on that rod Friday, and I was trout and mackerel fishing. And I don't know how I did it. They can make fun of my knots all they want. I got 6 jumps on them with 25-pound testing and breaking.
It's because he gave you that horseshoe.
So these same areas, always have you some bigger rods ready. There are some kingfish in the bay. Not a whole lot, but I mean, I've caught and seen right next to some kingfish caught. And in the same areas, you're going to be mackerel fishing.
Is it almost like kingfish where the larger mackerel are underneath the smaller mackerel? Or like in kingfish, the larger kingfish are below the smaller kingfish?
I think like any fish, you get 15-inch trout. There's like a lot of them. Occasionally, you got a few big ones. You get 19-inch trout. They're usually the same thing with the mackerel. You catch more like 40% little schoolie mackerel. They're usually all around that big. Not to say you're not gonna catch a bigger one, but you know, I think the sizes kind of hang together, so to speak. Think of redfish. You go over, get on a school with redfish. They're all around 30 inches, but you got that one bruiser that's usually 36. That's kind of leading the pack. Snook are a little different. I think there's, you know, they're an ambush feeder. You get, you know, big mama laying up there, and you got all the little ones kind of surrounding her. So the snook are a little different. But I think with the schoolie fish, mackerel, and stuff like that, yeah, you'll get.
Especially later this summer when they come in. You know, if y'all have ever been out there in the summertime when they're just blasted, it looks like a washing machine on top of water. Usually, whatever you catch, they're all going to be like cookie cutter sized fish. And that's one time, I was thinking about this a while ago, that's one time that mackerel fishing can be tough because they're eating little fry baits, and sometimes that's all they're going to eat is little fry baits. They're not going to, you can throw the nicest greenback out there or whatever you got, and for whatever reason, sometimes they will not get away from eating one of those little glass minnows or whatever that is that they're after. That's what they want. You'll see them come up and you'll see all those little baits just fly up out of the water. They're too little to put on a hook, or I try to catch some and use them, but that's one time that mackerel are not kind of, I don't know if it's an instinctual thing or whatever. It's not, they're not stupid at that point. They're like, okay, that's not what I'm going to eat because that's the only one in the pack like that swimming by. I don't want him. So I was thinking about that earlier when you said that, it is a fish that certain times of year, you gotta match the hatch on them.
How did you guys do? You guys ran just off the shoreline. Did you get a lot of mackerel?
I don't know, we caught 6 or 8.
How big?
Big. Yeah, they were big. Some of them were big. They weren't all big, but.
Is there any
No.
orders?
No.
Anyway.
So don't give that spot away, Rick.
We won in the
I'm
day.
selling the numbers.
Yeah.
I got good buddies. So
I haven't seen many big mackerel in the bay. I will say this, I have personally done less mackerel fishing than I have the last few years, for the simple fact that I have seen some increasing numbers on snook and marsh. And I did some more snook fishing than I have the last few years. So, with that being
The
said,
biggest mackerel I've caught this year has been in the upper end of the bay. McGill area.
really,
The biggest mackerel, yeah.
Where around like this?
Right there on the tip.
this is the tip? Right
The tip.
inside the security.
Right there.
Right there where that boat
You know where
is.
Slaughter's Pond
Some of
is?
us have ID cards so we can fish those areas.
Right there, you know where Slaughter's Pond is? It's right there on the tip by Slaughter's Pond.
Say no.
Not a clue.
No.
Now, there's some, again, off McDill, there's 4 to 6 foot flats. There's some good, what they call soft pepper bottom, grass and sand bottom. It's all good areas around Bishops and all that. There's some good bottom out there.
Where I'm talking about, you know the island that kind of sits between Wheaton and McDill? I don't know, it used to have one lone palm tree on it.
Yep. Yep.
You know what I'm talking about? Now it's just like a sand palm that you see on the water. Just like you draw a straight line to the skyway, that side of that. It's good hard bottom and they're there.
In that area he's talking about, you got a ship channel and kind of a ship channel. And there's deeper water all around. You got these hills that kind of come up to 5, 6 foot. It's all good mackerel, and there's good water flow. That's what you want. Good water flow, and the water kind of comes up to like almost like a deep flat, and there's deeper water around it. So these are all good areas to target. I personally, I would probably run just off the beaches.
Yep.
Find you I mean, if you want to win the tournament, that's when the big mackerel are going to be. I think bigger ones. There'll probably be some big ones caught in the bay, but I think you have more of them along the wall.
If I was going to fish the tournament, that is where I would go. I would go on the beaches, but
You got some.
I'm just saying the biggest ones I've caught have been up there, and I don't know why. I mean,
Does it have to be a Spanish
biggest
man?
mackerel in the bay. Yes, can it be a king? King mac?
No. Spanish man.
Leave it to these two guys.
Always looking for a name.
Any more questions?
Hey, I'm a first-year winner. The first one we had,
Oh, God.
buy a half
Here
an
we
inch.
go.
Here we go. How long is it gonna take?
Hey, go ahead and order breakfast now.
Yes.
Now, I asked him about the children's event, because that year he won. My son won the children's side.
Yep.
And it was bigger fish than his.
Did I give him the opportunity? I asked him if he wanted, I said, do you want to be, he was 15, I said, do you want to fish with the adults or do you want to fish in the kids division? He said, oh, the kids division. Thank you, Jesus.
Steve. You remember what's her
He
name?
fished with me.
Mary
Mary Beth. No, Mary
No.
Beth, no, Mary something.
Mary Lou.
Mary Lou.
Yeah.
Her grandson come in second in the kids division with the bigger mackerel than yours. The kids took first and second overall, but yours was good.
Oh.
Any more questions?
Hey, when you're cooking your mac, how do you cook them? Are you just icing them down real quick? Do you bleed them out? What are you doing?
I don't bleed them out. I do put them on ice.
Right?
I kind of got like a little system. I put them in the live well because I don't like hearing them flopping around all in the cooler.
Right.
I put them in the live well for 3-4 minutes. They're dead.
Right.
Shove them straight in the ice. When I clean a mackerel, I'll just tell you how I clean them. Try to tell you how I clean them. I just fillet them. You know, just take. Well, I mean that's. You just cut them off, and now you got 2 halves with skin on them.
Right.
You cut that, you know, what would be the rib cage off.
Right.
And I usually cut about that much off the back because it's got that on the outside. It's got that little fin like that sits sideways. And then I'll take if it's a small mackerel, you can cut him in half at that point. And if it's a larger mackerel, you can cut him in thirds. So So now you got three pieces of, no, they're not steaks, 6 pieces per fish, 3 pieces per side. Okay.
Gotcha.
Now you take those pieces from being long ways and turn them this way. Go right down the center, just on the inside of what would be, you know, the center line, and just go right down and peel them out, just like that.
Oh, I got you. So you're cutting out the bloodline right.
And then when you can take that piece of skin that's left and hold it up and look, and it's you got your skin, and the meat does like this, and you know, obviously much bigger.
I got you.
Or because you're almost as big, but you can see the triangle from that bloodline in it.
Then what do you do?
And do you smoke them? Do you fry them?
Hot grease.
Hot grease and fried up?
Actually, the way I like them is blackened.
All right.
That's pretty good.
Blackened anything's
Now,
good, man.
Kingfish, I've done kingfish that way, but a bigger kingfish, I like to steak them. And I ate kingfish this year for the first time. I've never had it before this year. Oh my God.
I'll have to make it for you.
Dude, I got a neighbor that moved in next door to me in December. He's a professional chef. Rock on Dave. I'm telling you. This guy, I'll just tell you what he did. He marinated it in lemon juice, salt, and ice for 16 hours. And then he took it out of the lemon juice, salt, and ice. I guess he was redoing the ice, I don't know. Took it out of that and soaked it in Italian dressing for 5 hours. Then he put them on the grill with Lowry's Cajun seasoning on top.
That's 21 hours of work.
Best fish I've ever had in my life. Ever.
I took a tip from Danny that he gave us a couple, 3 years ago. The sleeve that your newspaper comes in, use those sleeves to put the fish in to throw them in the cooler. Saves a whole lot of mess in the cooler.
We do the
I'm good with that. That's a good idea.
Yeah, great big old yard like trash bag. Hopefully you catch enough to fill it, but just throw a trash bag in the cooler on top of the ice. Put the fish in that. It saves a whole lot of cleaning.
Is there even a limit on
Actually,
that?
I throw the guts in the bag when I get home because I clean them at the house. So.
And I think they only have to be 12 inches.
12, yeah. 15 per person, 12.
Is there any meat on 12? I mean, there can't be much on
I
12.
don't think I've ever caught 12 inches. Honestly, I mean, I don't know. Y'all catch as big a fish as I do. I don't know that I've ever seen a 12-inch mackerel.
I've never caught.
Sounds like bait then.
Here, throw that thing back out there.
I don't know where they're at.
There's one that's huge.
Yeah, I thought it was 14 for keeper.
Any else?
Nobody wants to brag about the 12-inch mackerel they call it.
Yeah.
Jason, have you started tarpon fishing yet?
A little bit.
Are you doing the bridge or beam point? My
Neither.
son and I are going out.
Neither. There's some fish.
New moon tide is Sunday, so
There's some fish at the bridge. I don't think they're thick on the beaches yet. I hooked some on the outer flats. Actually, today we had one for about 5 seconds. Just fishing some outer flats south. I was actually mixing it up, fishing some mackerel and trout. It's just been so windy. I was going to do some tarpon this past week. Starting next week, I got a lot of tarpon trips.
yep,
So I suspect around the full moon we got coming up.
Sunday.
Sunday, yeah.
Six.
And the fish are getting finicky because we fished today. I mean, it was consistently tough bite. We caught a bunch of trout today. I was fishing St. Pete on 6 school redfish and it was 5 boats and we chased them. Incoming, outgoing, they won't bite. The fish are moving around a lot. Baits get full skin, sketchy. Around this full moon. It's good sometimes, and other times it sucks because the fish move around a lot. But I suspect it's going to start pushing these fish. And I know they're down in Boca. There's some in the pass already, so yes.
2.5 weeks ago, they were catching tarpon off the Reddington Long Pier. I saw them catch 3
Yeah.
off there.
Yeah, there's some on
2.5
the
weeks
beaches.
ago.
They're just not real thick. When they come in thick, there's a lot of fish out there. I usually try not to. I mean, when I go out there, I want them to be like thousands of them on the beach.
Yeah.
You get like 100 and 100 tarpon getting in the bite is.
And I was there last Sunday, Sunday, and it was tough, man. I had 10 presentations to probably 50 fish, and nothing going on, man.
Yeah.
No bites, no takers. And they weren't spooked out. They were just cruising literally right on the buoy line, right there.
Yeah, tarpon. Even the fish that are on the outer flats, they're scattered, so it's kind of tough to say I'm going to go tarpon. I'm kind of like fishing for mackerel and trout. draw them into, you use some cut bait. It almost gets aggravating because you're just sitting back there cutting for like an hour. This is when it's good to hire a guide because he does all the work and you just kind of sit there. I mean, it looks like a blood mess in the back of my boat sometimes on mackerel or tarpon. So use some cut bait. Redfins are great cut bait because they got that oily scent. So, but I'm looking forward to it. I'm ready for tarpon.
How's the bite going to be this weekend with that so-called supermoon?
I don't know, man.
Tide's gonna be high.
It's gonna be a tough fight. The bait's scattering around. We were all scrambling a little bit to get bait.
Tiger, the supermoon in '05, how did we do?
It was sick. Absolutely sick. When that water started running out, and I mean running out, we couldn't. As soon as you threw it and the bait hit the water, it was a snook on, snook on, snook on. And then that's when I caught, what was it, a 35, 36 inch trout?
32-inch trout.
Problem is, I wasn't paying attention. I about lipped it. I'm not lying.
The water was really dark. The snook and the trout that he caught, they were all just dark. You know, from being in that dark water. It was off of Pawnee Point. There was one hole that we just anchored in. We didn't have enough sense. It just looked like a place to catch bass, so that's why we parked there. Because it was like the third time we had the boat out. And I mean, we must have caught in 45 minutes, we probably caught between the three of us 150 snook. One right after another. Now, there was nothing great big, but I don't know how many times we had three on at the same time, just
That was
running all around the boat.
before the kill, right?
Oh, way
A
before.
week later, the red tide hit.
They knew they were gonna die, so they just to give you your money. But yeah, the tarpon bite's gonna start happening.
I was out at Valencia Lakes Tuesday. Have you heard anything about a petition going around to halt the snook until 2013?
Yes.
And I support
Good.
it.
You support it?
Yes.
I can tell you, anybody books a charter with me, I don't care if they're open or not, I'm not keeping snook.
Jason and I last year ran a 2-boat deal, and we both. Anybody here from Chicago?
New York.
Cover your bait.
Oh, was it New York?
Yeah, Yankee stuff.
They were originally from Chicago, moved to New York.
Nothing against people from New York.
City folk, right?
They
Tell me they're city folk.
They
offers
offered
$500
They offered
to keep us
both of us $500 above and beyond the cost of the charter to keep us snug.
Oh, those are definitely city folk.
Yeah.
'Cause, yeah,
They're like, you can't keep them? I'm like, no. Why? Because we lost like 70% of our fish. You just can't keep one? I'm like, no. Like, you mean tell me I give you $10?
It's like
I
22 inch
said no.
snook. He's like, I don't want to buy him from you.
That's the reason
There
our
are
country
some
people want to cut the city
There's
loose
some
and let it
snook
float
around
out.
right now. We're not catching near the numbers we should be catching. This time of year, it'd be nothing to go out for us to go and catch 40 or 50 skunk. We can go out and work all day and maybe, on a good day, maybe catch 20. But there's not a lot of schools out there. I'll tell you, there's one school down south that there's been a boat on, or 4 boats on, every day since the beginning of March.
$500 a fish, you bet the people are selling them.
And what's happening, yes, it's catch and release, but we're pounding them to a point to where they're not gonna survive. They're not gonna survive those hooks. There's not that many fish. If everybody in here went snook fishing and y'all all caught 2 snook, how many snook did we just catch?
A lot.
20% of those snook are gonna die, just because they got a hook in them. So, I limit what I'm doing with snook, I'll target them, but
Sparing.
I'm not gonna pound them for 6 hours like I would before the freeze. I just won't do it. I'll go in, I'll fish them for an hour, maybe 2, and I'm gonna go off and do something else.
Yeah,
I'd rather just wait for however long it takes for the stocks to come back, because there's nothing better than to get a good snow.
there is. I will tell you, in March and April, I've seen a lot of fish, but it's nothing to what we had. And I'm just being honest, not going one extreme to the other. I think it's way better than what it was last year.
Right.
I think last year we seen a lot of big fish, the breeders. This year we're starting to see, and Danny knows more about the sizing and how old and the size and all that. Seeing a lot of the 12 to 15 to 18 inch fish, that's post kill. So that's the fish that, I don't care if you got a bank with a 30 inch snook. 30 inch and 40 inch snook don't bite every day. They didn't get that big by being dumb. 2-inch fish is the majority of the fish that you're gonna catch, and you'll get one mixed in that's the bigger one.
If you've got an 18-inch snook, that fish was attached after the freeze. Early this year, we were catching big snook. We would go out and catch snook. 26, 28 inches was not enough. They were great. But we weren't catching 14 inches to 16 inches. That was concerning to me. Now, as we got later into the spring, we started catching a few more of these, but still nothing to really need, nothing like we should be seeing.
What's that guy at FWC, Taylor?
Ron Taylor.
I went to the Snook Symposium several years ago, and he said that a big snook, anything, and when he classified big, it's like 35 inches plus, 34 inches plus, whatever, that size snook can go 60 days without eating. Now, they won't, but they can. When they, when you get, if the weather was to get cool and the water, not cold, but cool, their metabolism slows down and they don't have to eat, so they can go that long. He said the juvenile snook can go 30 to 40 days without eating. So, just like Jason says, if you see,
They're young and dumb and hungry, they just,
right, but I mean, if you see, like you said, 30-inch snook laying over there, which there are places that we used to have where that you could find that, and they don't eat. You could go, those snook, mostly they're going to eat at night, and they're going to eat big stuff.
They'll eat on around your new moon phase or a weather change, like a front roll.
Yeah, those snook are eating mullet. They're eating 1 pound mullet.
Understand too that, and correct me if I'm wrong on this, when you guys see a decision in August, remember that it's probably going to be a coast-wide decision. So even though, and I'm just trying to educate people in the local area, they're probably, and I think they're going to open it for the coast. They're not going to say, okay, Tampa, you're closed. Okay, Sarasota, you're open. Because then you run into, if you think about it, you're going to have issues. What if you're in Sarasota and you go to Bradenton, it's closed and open, you got that line. So they're probably going to open it or close it statewide. So that doesn't mean because they open it that our snook fishing is good to go here. We can just start throwing them in the pool. So just keep that in mind. I can tell you that I personally have about 235 days in the water last year, and probably going to do at least that this year. It is not what it was, but it is better, and that's my honest opinion on it. I urge everybody. I've written some articles in the South Shore saying the snook are on the comeback, but as I write that, I still urge people. Every fish is very important. It is important that not only do you know how to catch the fish, but you know how to release them and make sure that fish comes off and he's not damaged. And by no cost, you guys keep anything. There's some people, and Danny's seen it. They live in the water. Oh, it's just one fish. No, it's not just one fish. That fish reproduces, and it's a lot of fish to be killed. It's not. Or there's plenty of other fish out there that are good eating. Everybody says, "Oh, we love stuff." I've had stuff. It's great, but there's fish that I like just as much. I think the reason why people think snook are so good is because they've been such a tight
fish.
There's been such a tight limit on them for the last